Everyone, and welcome to day 18 of 31 Days of Tarot with today's question of what cards relate to you personally and not just your astrology associations or court cards. So for me, there are four cards that came directly to my mind when I thought about which cards connect with me and um, yeah relate to me personally. And one of them is um, also an astrology association for me because my rising sign, my ascendant is Virgo, and the card that connects with Virgo is the Hermit. And the Hermit is the one major arcana card that I have in here in those four cards which relate to myself because the hermit, as I learned tarot and I learned the meaning of the hermit card, I immediately fell in love with this card and I immediately connected and understood this card because a lot of the hermit energy is also the way that I take and the way that my character is um, because I love to be alone. I don't need many people around me. I love spending alone time and spending quiet time. I love to sit there and contemplate and just think about the world. So even if I'm sitting alone in my room and it looks like I don't do much or I don't do anything, there's a lot going on in my head. Um, a lot of things that I think about in that moment. Um, I love to retreat. I love to, yeah, spend time alone. So the Hermit is really a card that I relate to the most out of the major arcana, at least. Um, and it's quite interesting that it is connected to my rising sign Virgo, that I have that astrological association there as well, because I connected with this card even before I knew my rising sign and I knew that the Hermit is connected to my rising sign. So I had to include that card in here. And these are three hermit cards that I love. This is the Hermit from the Nomad Tarot. I love that the wolf is depicted in this card because the wolf is my spirit animal. Um, I always connected deeply and was very highly fascinated by wolves, even as a little child. And my fascination and my love for wolves um, growed even stronger now, until now. Um, so I love that in the card that I relate to the most, there's my spirit animal in there. And I love, and I even think that it fits because the wolf is a very wise, very confident, um, very authentic um, animal, which yeah, strives out there through the woods, through nature, and which loves to be free and to use that freedom and um, doesn't connect to um, different things. It just goes where it wants to go. So, and it's a very wise and old energy for me, for the wolf. So I love that in the Hermit card. I also love the Hermit card from the Golden Thread Tarot. I don't know if you can see it really. So here is the Hermit cloaked with the staff and the lantern here up on a cliff, really. And from the lantern, there's all those gold rays of light spiraling out into the world. So he's alone on top of the world out here, but he shines and his wisdom, and he shares his wisdom um, into the world. So I love that depiction. It's a little bit harder to show with the light. And then we have the Hermit from the Prisma Visions Tarot. And I love that as well. We have a full moon here, and I love full moons. I work a lot with full moons. We have a river um, flowing through the woods. We have all those trees, and we have that bridge that connects um, one side of the world with the other side of the world. And on that bridge, directly in front of the full moon, stands a person. So I love to see that we have the water and the moon in there. So he's following his intuition. He goes deep inside himself to get wisdom, to get knowledge, to get to know himself. Um, and he shares or he connects one world with the other world. So I love that depiction. And he's all alone in nature in a calm night. So I love that. So this was the first. Now we have three more, and those three are all from the Minor Arcana. And the first thing that I relate to personally is the Eight of Swords. Because I'm a person that loves to overthink things, um, and really dramatize things, make things bigger, um, that they really are, and let my fears and my overthinking and overanalyzing, um, yeah, block me from moving forward, from exploring new things, from trying new things. Um, so I really, yeah, connect with this card because the Eight of Swords for me is about our mind, our thinking, and the way it blocks us from moving forward. All those swords, all those thoughts around her block her, or she thinks that she is blocked by those thoughts to move forward because she's bound and she's blindfolded, so she can't move forward. But if she only would trust herself and her senses a little bit more, and don't get loose so much in her thoughts and give over her power so much to her mind, then she would be able to walk out of those swords. And that's a problem that I have. I don't trust myself oftentimes enough. So I overthink things and I want to know every little detail of a new thing, and want to have 30 plans. So if something goes wrong, which I love to think as well, I love to think of the baddest scenarios that could possibly happen in the world. Um, so I love to have 30 plans planned out and thought out. So if something goes wrong in plan A, then I can go to plan B. But that's because I don't trust myself and I overthink things and I want to know every detail, which is impossible to know. And um, I'm very pessimistic as well. That blocks me from doing even anything because I'm afraid that something bad is going to happen and I'm not able to get out of that situation anymore. Um, so that's the way that I correspond and relate to the Eight of Swords. And I also love this depiction of the Dark Days Tarot as well, because here you really can see that this is a mental thing that is going on. Um, the swords are up in her head. So here we have her eyes, here is her head, and the swords are blocking her from seeing things as they really are because they're pointing towards the eyes, and therefore she needs to have her eyes closed. and she's not able to open her eyes and see the way things really are. Instead, she's um, all up in her head and caged in her thoughts and her fears, or he. Um, so I love those two depictions of the Eight of Swords, and that's another card I relate to. And a very similar card I relate to is also a swords card, and it is the Nine of Swords. Um, yeah, also the thing that I love to dramatize. I'm a very pessimistic person. I always get the most baddest scenarios in my head that could possibly happen. Most often they're unrealistic, but I'm so up in my head that moment and I'm panicking and I'm anxiety driven then because of my thoughts, of my fears, of the nightmares that I create for myself that are not even very realistic. Um, and that blocks me also from moving forward or from really getting the success and using the potential that I have. Because of those Eight of Swords and Nine of Swords energy that I have a lot around me and yeah, within me, I suppose. So I have to learn really to trust myself more and to just do and not overthink things and not give the power I have over to my fears or too much over to my mind. So those two cards are really the cards I need to work with. And I love the Nine of Swords here. You have a lot of swords all pointing in different directions, creating a really chaotic pattern here. You have her holding her head, closing her eyes. She really looks like she's stressed out and desperate because she doesn't know what to make out of her thoughts or how she could come out of that. Um, so I love that. I also love the Nine of Swords. So this was the Cesarabido tarot. This is the Bad Bitches tarot here. You have all those swords behind her. You have her in a black dress. Um, so she's like blocking herself. Black is for me here very blocking energy. She doesn't look on the optimistic and bright side, she only sees the dark side. She also holds her ears shut with her hands. She looks very angry, even in her face. Um, so I love that depiction as well, and I love the Nine of Swords in the Dark Days tarot as well. So she lies here or he in a fetal position almost, very desperate, very yeah, like she doesn't know what to do and very powerless. It looks very like she isn't able to move forward or do anything. And gave over her power to her thoughts and to her fears and her nightmares, which directly point all towards her. Um, and she can't even see the flowers and the reality and the beautiful things because of all those nightmares and the clouds that are behind her. So I love that as well. And the last card I can relate to is a Pentacle card. And it's the Four of Pentacles, but not necessarily in the traditional meaning that it's like holding on to your resources and not willing to spend resources or share your resources, but more in the sense of holding on to the things you know, to the things how they are right now and not willing to change anything because you're afraid to change something, because you're afraid of the new things that can come up then, because you don't know everything about the new things that are coming up. and what they bring with you. So instead of moving forward in a more positive direction, because new things doesn't really mean or don't really mean just bad, it oftentimes is a good thing to move forward, to change. And good things are coming as well. But instead of moving forward and open up to new things and change something, you're afraid to do so because you don't know exactly what comes up next. And so um, you stay in the environment and how it is right now, and you're holding on to the things you already know and to the old things, even if they're not good for you anymore, but you know how to deal with them, you know what is coming up with them. Um, and that's the problem I have because I overthink things and I'm afraid of things. And I love to know every detail of new things that are coming up. And so I love to just hold on to the old and I don't even see the new beautiful things that I could have if I just would stand up, do something and change the thing. So I love how it is depicted here. He holds on to his resources he already has instead of letting them go, letting the old things go, and um, be willing to change, to move forward into a new thing. He could have all those beautiful new things. And I love this depiction of the Dark Days Tarot. So this was the Prisma Visions. This is the Dark Days Tarot as well. Because she holds on to her resources and to the things she already knew from our world, from the earth. She's bound to the earth here, and therefore she's not able to fly and explore the universe and to go to new horizons and maybe even find something better there as well. So I love those as well. So these are the four cards that I relate to personally: the Hermit, the Eight, and the Nine of Swords, and the Four of Pentacles. Um, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any other video. I would love to see you over on my Instagram account as well. The link is in the description box below if you want to see some general readings and some sparkly goodness. I would also love to read down in the comments what cards are you relate to and what energies do you need to work on in your life. Um, so leave a comment down below. I would be happy to read those. Um, and yeah, thank you for watching. I'm wishing you a beautiful, sparkly day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!